Hello everyone and welcome to the second lesson of this adjective series. As previously mentioned, this lesson is all about the rules of agreement between adjectives and nouns. Since we are still making our first baby steps into the world of Arabic grammar, we will begin by studying these rules of agreement within the context of phrases first. Then we will get back to them one more time when we will finish the dual and plural form and get to sentences, simply because some of the rules we are about to teach you will cease to be valid in other contexts. Taking that into consideration, let's begin today's lesson by defining what do you mean by a phrase and how does it relate to nouns and adjectives agreement. So far, we have only learned the characteristics of a single word, but time has come to let these words join and interact with each other. If two or more words are joined together, they constitute a compound that can either be a phrase or a sentence. Depending on what? You've guessed it, depending on the meaning. So again, a phrase is a combination of two or more words. We do call it in Arabic murakkab. When this combination of words conveys a complete meaning on its own, i.e., some information, command, or wish is understood from it, we do call it sentence. However, when we are dealing with a combination of words from which no information, order, or desire is understood, it is an incomplete statement and we do call it phrase or murakkab. Again, murakkab. So one can deduce that when we talk about speech in Arabic grammar, we typically divide it into three categories: word, phrase, and sentence. Please note that we are enlarging the scale. As I said, one or more words interacting together. Now let's see how does all of this relate to nouns and adjectives agreement. In fact, there are different types of words combinations, i.e. phrases in Arabic, and as of today, each one of these will be introduced gradually as needed and as encountered. And our first encounter is with the combination of a noun and an adjective. When an adjective joins a noun to give more information about it, they do form a phrase. More precisely, an adjectival phrase, also known as murakkab wasfi. Again, murakkab wasfi. Now that you've got the idea, let's slowly delve in the rules of agreement between nouns and adjectives within adjectival phrases. So again, an Arabic adjectival phrase is a compound in which the second word describes the first one. Be careful, remember that in Arabic the order is reversed. An adjectival phrase always has an adjective acting as the head in English, but it will act as the tail in Arabic. And what better than an example to help you grasp the idea? Please keep in mind that I'm going to focus on the syntax as well as the rules of agreement. That's number one. Number two, we are going to start from an English speaker perspective and then see how things are done in Arabic. So, our example is the little girl. In terms of syntax, in English the adjective comes first, followed by the noun. And needless to say that the adjective will always stay the same, while the noun being described can be of any gender, plurality, and definiteness. For example, we can say gender first, the little girl, or the little boy. Of course, boy is the masculine version of girl. Then we have the plurality, the little girls, and last but not least comes definiteness. The little girl, a little girl. Now, if we do a side-by-side comparison between all of these examples, and this is very important please, in all of these phrases, the adjective remained as is, no changes at all, while the noun is inflected for gender, plurality, and definiteness. So again, adjectives in English stay as is, while nouns inflect for, or let's say change to showcase gender, plurality, and definiteness. So far, nothing new. Now let's see how things are done in Arabic. Right. In order to get the best outcome in terms of comprehension, let's translate and use the same example, I mean the little girl. We do call it in Arabic, البنت الصغيرة. Again, البنت الصغيرة. And the first thing I would like to grab your attention to is that syntax-wise, the noun here comes first, followed by the adjective, and that's the first difference. Let's now take a look at the rules of agreement. As usual, I'm going to state all the rules first and then analyze them one by one within the limits of the level reached so far. So, listen closely please. Unlike the English language where adjectives are not inflected, i.e. remain the same, while nouns are inflected for gender, plurality and definiteness, both parts in Arabic, the noun and the adjective, decline to match each other. One more time. Both nouns and adjectives decline to match each other in Arabic. One as well as the other are inflected for gender, plurality, definiteness, and something else. What is it? Let's see. Unlike the English language in which this matching process should abide by only 3 rules, definiteness, gender, and number, in Arabic there are 4 criteria to take into account. 3 of them are familiar to you, and the remaining one is completely new. In fact, nouns and adjectives in Arabic should both be compatible in terms of gender, plurality, definiteness, and last but not least, case endings, which simply means that the last short vowel of the noun should be duplicated on the adjective. Right, so what do we mean by all of this? I'm going to give you a general idea first and then get more specific about certain points. In Arabic, if the noun being described is masculine, the adjective will also be masculine. If it is feminine, the adjective will also be feminine, simply because all nouns have a gender in the Arabic language. And similarly, the adjective will also follow the noun it modifies in being singular, dual, plural, definite, or indefinite, not to mention that it will automatically copy the last short vowel of this noun on its own last letter. If the noun ends with a fatha, the adjective will end with a fatha too, and so on and so forth. Fatha, fatha, dhamma, dhamma, double kasra, etc. Kindly note that tanween is also included. So by and large, the rule is the declension of an adjective, i.e. all forms of an adjective must be chosen to match the noun in gender, plurality, definiteness, and case ending. Now, as promised, time has come to take a look at each one of these matching rules separately. However, we are going to skip the agreement in number since it is a little bit of a complicated area and since we didn't study neither the dual nor the plural form anyway. That's on one hand. On the other hand, as I go, I will each time briefly touch on the case ending since it's part of the matching process. So let's begin. Starting with definiteness and keeping the same example, البنت الصغيرة. Just by the looks of it, we can easily tell that this is the definite version of the phrase. Kindly note the definite article at the beginning of both parts of the phrase and that the case ending, i.e. the last short vowel of the noun, is duplicated on the adjective. Now, if we want to make this phrase indefinite, we are going to Number 1, cancel or get rid of the definite article at the beginning of both words and replace it with tanween since it is the sign of indefiniteness in Arabic. Now, here is the trick. Since our case ending is a dhamma, we are going to replace it with its corresponding sign of indefiniteness, and that is, you've guessed it, double dhamma. Good on you. بنت صغيرة. بنت صغيرة. I know it's not something we quite do in English, but it's not that difficult to pick up on. So the rule is, when it comes to phrases, definite nouns take definite adjectives and indefinite nouns take indefinite adjectives. Couldn't be easier. Let's now move on to gender agreement. A quick disclaimer, please. Remember that we are talking about singular nouns, as some of these below written rules will change with plural nouns. Right. While keeping an eye on what's written, let's kind of rewind first. As previously mentioned, all Arabic nouns have a gender, and there is no room for neutral gender at all. I will link the corresponding lesson on the right side of your screen. That's number 1. Number 2, we also said that the default gender in Arabic is masculine, or مذكر, and that all nouns are masculine unless they are proven to be feminine. Not to mention that we have provided you with a complete guideline on how to identify feminine nouns easily. Now, if we add all of this to today's new rules, which are written right in front of you, an adjective describing a masculine singular noun, regardless of whether that noun represents a person or a thing, must be masculine, and an adjective describing a feminine singular noun, regardless of whether that noun represents a person or a thing, must be feminine. The only thing left for us to learn is how to transform an adjective into its feminine version, since we didn't see that yet. Speaking of, I'm glad to inform you that it is remarkably simple. To make a feminine adjective, we simply add تا مربوطة. جميل جميلة، طويل طويلة، صغير صغيرة، ولد صغير، بنت صغيرة، الولد الصغير، البنت الصغيرة. And please don't forget to match the case ending. That's it. Now, before moving on, it is important to highlight the fact that there are a couple of exceptions to this تا مربوطة rule, but we are not going to deal with them today. Just learn the basics for now and apply the exceptions as you learn them. Trust me, people will forgive you. In fact, they will be thrilled you are learning Arabic at all. Back to the matter at hand. Last but not least, we have the agreement in terms of case ending. We have introduced this concept to you over some of our previous lessons, so it won't be that difficult to pick up on. Not to mention that the following is just to skim through case endings and that we are going to tackle it using a different approach. In fact, we are going to focus on the how and push back the why to the right time, given that the case ending is nothing but a reflection, or let's say a mirror reflecting the grammatical function of the word within the sentence, and that's way out of the beaten track for us. Accordingly, all you will have to remember at this beginner level is that an adjective will most of the time have the same case ending, i.e. the last short vowel, as the noun it modifies. If the noun ends with a fatha, the adjective will too. If it ends with a kasra, the adjective will also end with a kasra, and so on and so forth until we cover all the single and double movement marks. Single or double depends obviously on the state of definiteness. And again, this is true for phrases, more precisely adjectival phrases. Later on, you will learn it might change in sentences. On a side note, before ending this lesson, I have to admit that there is an awful lot of exceptions to this rule that we will pick up as we go along. And this is due to the fact that certain types of nouns behave a little bit differently in terms of case system. Some of these exceptions might seem challenging at first glance, but once we will do a whole series on the case ending system and get into the nuts and bolts of it, it is going to be all child's play. That brings us to the end of today's lesson as well as this adjective series. We will be glad to answer your questions and interact with you in the comments section. شكرا على حسن استماعكم ومع السلامة.